Good morning, all. It's Ian here from the Sports Card Side Hustle. I'm coming to you today to talk about Devin Booker and his 2015 Prizm NBA Panini Prizm Silver rookie and it being undervalued. All right, he went off again. If you're watching the NBA playoffs right now and you saw Game 4 last night, in the post game, you saw Shaq apologizing to Devin Booker because he called out before the game. He said there's no way that the Suns could do this again like they did in Game 3. There's no way that Devin Booker could shoot 80% and shoot anything like 20 for 25 again, and he did. He went something like 14 for 18, and he's shooting like near 80% over a huge number of field goal attempts for 2 to 3 games. So he's on a tear in the NBA playoffs, on the biggest stage, trying to beat the number 1 seed, and they have a chance to do it because they're 2-2 going into Game 5. He's so far by far the best player in the playoffs. And so what we look at here, if you go look at the long term, when there was that NBA bubble, look, his card was up huge. I mean, the average price of his Prizm Silver Raw, $481 when you take it over the long period of time, because it peaked at $670 Raw, right? You look at all time, it's not even much higher than it was, pre-bubble, before there was ever a rise in the market. So while a lot of stuff had a huge peak in that NBA bubble where stuff really got overpriced, especially for the NBA during COVID, Devin Booker's has come down way too much, and he's underrated if you look at how he's playing and on the biggest stage. So I expect some prices to pick up. You will see in the last 2 weeks it already did, right? The NBA playoffs kicked off. Previous sales were around 200 Raw, 240. 6 for the most recent sale, so that's a pretty big increase. It's only a one-off, so it could be an outlier. But if we go ahead and look at more data, and why do I consider this card undervalued and underpriced, especially if you can get it raw. Card Ladder's already given it, with their algorithm, a current value of 260 for the raw. But let's go look at the pop data, and then I'll tell you why I think it's even more undervalued. So in the population data, the PSA 10 is 51% of the cards. That's a high gem mint rate for a card this old. For a card it's not an outlier, that's not a fluke thing. It's not we just had a few graded. This card's been around 8 years. In those 8 years, there's only 400 graded by PSA, 400 and some graded by Beckett. There's not huge production and overproduction of this silver, and of those 408 graded by PSA, 209 of those have got a 10. So you've got over a 50% chance of getting a 10, but then another 172 have got a 9. So that's almost, what is that? That's 380 some out of 408. So you have well over a 90% chance of getting a 9 or a 10, okay, when you buy raw. So take a look at the card, make sure it doesn't have any crazy surface scratches, off-center corners, things that are obvious. But then let's go back and look at, okay, so if I can get this raw card for in the $250 range and get that graded under today's grading prices, I've already got at least a $300 card. Now, there's not even any graded versions, PSA 9 sold in the last 2 weeks. You go back a month, and there was one for $305, but that was before he was heating up. So I guarantee you, I would bet a 9 is going to be valued at least like $350 right now. Now you go to a 10, which, remember, when we looked at the prices, raw was under $250. So when you go to a 10, that's a $1,200 card now. The last sold price was $1,206, and that was before. There's not any in the last 2 weeks, so that was before Devin Booker started playing out of this world in the NBA playoffs. Okay, so that's why I'm calling Devin Booker, his 2015 Prizm Silver, a buy, why I'm saying it's undervalued, and why I would be after this card if you can find it raw right now and you don't see any obvious flaws in it. All right, so thanks for listening all. Let's see how he does in Game 5 and the rest of the series, and happy hunting. Look for that raw silver card if you could find it. I don't have any, full disclosure, I wish I did, but I will be looking for it. Take care all.